joining us to talk about this weekend's gubernatorial election in Edo State is the Director of Communications at the Association of Edo Professionals, Reverend Collins Edebiri. Reverend, many thanks for joining us on Newsday today for your outlook with regards to the elections this weekend. Now, the first question I have for you is, do you think that the extra security that's been provided and the peace accords that have been signed is enough to really curb violence in the state this weekend?
Well, thank you for having me. We've been on the ground for days, and we were also part of that process of the signing of the peace accord. I think the message has gone down very well. It's gone to the right quarters. I see the political leaders in different parties re-echoing the message, and that's not to say that we should stay away and believe that all will be well. I also see the security forces who are patrolling, who are also sending out signals of their readiness to, arrest any untoward behavior. So we are hopeful that against the predictions and expectations of the naysayers, that we would have a very peaceful election in Edo State.
All right, Reverend Collins. The United Kingdom has threatened to seize the assets and impose a visa ban on those individuals caught rigging during the elections in Edo State and also Ondo State. But focusing on Edo State, do you support this move being made by the international community as a deterrent for political rascality and violence?
Yes, I support it. The association I represent, the Association of Edo Professionals, which, by the way, is the umbrella body of all professionals from Edo State. We support that. I think we have made reference to that in a press release 2 days ago. So we support it, and sometimes we actually wish there could be more punishments for those who violate our electoral process.
Well, in your media release, you talked about the posture of some traditional rulers to get enmeshed in politics. Would you care to expatiate on that particular point and how it affects Edo politics, either negatively or positively?
Yeah, in that same release, we paid reverence to Majesty the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Ukwa Polopolo, Oba Ewari II, for the initiative and a very strong intervention, which has been held worldwide. But at the same time, you will notice that as the campaigns went from local governments to local government, ward to ward, city to cities, there were cases of traditional rulers who were making pronouncements, who were declaring their loyalty, their leanings, and we thought that was unbecoming. I personally also feel that when people come around to announce that they are in your domain, they want to canvass for votes, that's not the right time to start conferring chieftaincy titles and what have you. So there's been a whole lot of indications. I know traditional rulers are also human, yes, but by the office they occupy, they must control their emotions, they must suppress their preferences, so that as not to create, send the wrong signals and create acrimony in the land.
Is there any law that says...
We've seen a lot of that.
Is there any law that says that traditional rulers cannot support any party? Just like you said, they're human beings and they're free to associate. Is there any law that says they can't do that?
Well, when a traditional ruler then says, oh, go, you're already governor, and all of those kind of statements, we think those kind of statements are unbecoming. They should stand to, on the point of neutrality. But let's not make this so much about traditional rulers. We made that point in our press release, and we're very serious about it. But
Thanks,
there
Reverend.
are lots more points that we made in that press release.
Thanks, Reverend. And certainly there were a lot more points. One thing that I would like to touch on is the role of godfatherism, which has been a constant hurdle in the Nigerian polity and in our electoral processes. And of course, it's at the center of these upcoming elections as well. What are your views?
Well, we are of the view that there has to be a national movement, a concerted effort. We are prepared to lead that move. We spent some time many years ago in Edo State talking around this issue and actually proclaiming that no place for godfatherism. And I hear a lot of people saying that during this electioneering is something that we are serious about. We don't want godfathers. If anybody is showing up as godfather, I'm very, very excited about the way Edo-lites have come out to say, sorry, there's no place for any godfather. People from Edo State have always been independent-minded people. They make up their mind what they want to do, and they are not people that you can push around. We are hoping that from this election in Edo State, we can set a national standard. And then maybe the message will go out from here that there's no place for godfathers in our politics. They cause a lot of havoc. They cause a lot of evil and a lot of damages. They hold people to ransom. They don't allow those you choose to rule, to really do what they are elected to do. So it's a blitz in our political life, and we're going to put a stop to it.
But Reverend Collins, the whole storm that actually brewed between the present government, the governor, and the former governors stemmed from this particular godfatherism. So we actually let us, so the reports actually say. But talk to us, what's the reality of it? Because some people are even saying that if Pastor Izeyamu wins, that maybe he might not be allowed to probably fulfill his full mandate or fulfill all that has been laid out in his manifesto, because certainly he would have to pay allegiances to some of the godfathers who have actually been pushing him and brought him to power.
Well, we're trying not to talk specifically on any candidates. I hear your question around Pastor Izeyamu. Incidentally, I've known him to be from when he was a young man in Edo College, where I was a senior and all of that. He may be a man that is also totally misunderstood. It's just that we didn't support, the masses didn't find a way to support the people and all of that. Whether it's Obaseki, who has shown very clearly that he doesn't want to be answerable to any godfather, which is good, or Izeyamu, and once they revolt against any godfather, I think the people should just line behind them and say this is the way to go. I'm glad that I already see that in Governor Obaseki, and I'm sure that Izeyamu is also taking notes. So whichever of them comes out winner, you should know that we are tired of godfatherism.
Now, two questions for you, Reverend. One is the rhetorics. How do we get around the kind of rhetorics we witness during political campaigns or political seasons? And then what part, really, should the people of Edo State be seen to be playing to entrench democracy during this election in Edo State?
Okay, so I didn't hear that your question very clearly. I asked something about the people of Edo State, what part they should
be playing during this election to entrench democracy in Edo State. The first one is the rhetorics, the kind of language you get politicians, dish out during elections.
Okay.
How should we get around it?
Oh, okay, good question. Let me say that the Association of Edo Professionals, we've been very disappointed at the level of campaigns we've seen in Edo State. The level of venom, the language, discussing the issues have been at very surface level, where you expect people to come to debate or a campaign ground and talk about what they are offering. It's been personal attack. It's been songs and dances that blackmail, that tend to bring the other person down, character assassination and all of that. If you ask me, we have actually weed back many years in the quality of our presentation, discourse, campaigns and all of that. It's a very poor thing that has happened. we have a responsibility as an association. We've taken note of this, and we think that we didn't, maybe most of the political education we embarked on hasn't really sunk in. And we see this as a challenge going forward. I think this has been a very low performance. We can't reference this at all in trying to build a new culture of how campaigns should go in Nigeria. Every one of us, we have a responsibility to work around this. I think if the people begin to demand for new standards, politicians will get that message, and then they'll begin to align with this. We should be able to say no to this kind of venomous campaigns, character assassination, people just speaking to issues at the surface and not going deeply, and not able to tell you what they really want to offer you and how they want to go about it. Association of Edo Professionals will frown at that, and we won't let this happen anywhere anymore.
And as the Association of Edo Professionals as well, Reverend, what would you say are those key changes that you are calling for and you need to see from whatever administration comes in starting on Saturday, or whatever administration is voted on Saturday? What are those key changes or critical changes to certain sectors that are necessary in Edo States?
We've done some work and studies around this, and then we are hoping that once we have a governor in place, the association is going to sit down with that governor and say, these are the areas. Because we try to listen throughout these campaigns to say, where is the shift? Where are we going? And all of that. Well, we've done a lot of work along this line. We think that there is a high level of unemployment in Edo State right now, and any serious government at this time should be thinking about, looking at how to generate employment. And one area where we think we can do very well is in the agricultural sector. I don't think enough. I've seen attempts to scratch at the surface, but we need a revolution in that area. Yeah. So if any government coming into office in Edo State at this time is not really coming out with a very clear program about how to cause a revolution in that area, and then I think we will rank them as very unserious. Because let's not deceive ourselves. You are a state government, you go take money from the federal, your internally generated revenue is low. You just got to be very strategic in the kind of investments and the kind of things you do so that you can make food available for people to eat, and then create jobs for the teamy graduates and even non-graduates who are around looking for jobs to do. I think we should start seeing a shift in that area. We should also start seeing a shift in the way we align with other states in the federation. For example, I like what happened between, was it Kebbi and Lagos, in the rice production. Yeah. We need to see more of those kind of alliances, partnership happening and all of that. And I think there's so much that Edo State has that we are not offering out for people to really see. We need to really look inwards, see what those rich natural resources we have, and then go back to it. A time was when in this part of the world, we exported rubber, a lot of rubber from the States. We exported plywood. I mean, we need to go back in there and see what has happened to those forests and see what we want to begin to do. Oil palm is an area. So for me, it's agriculture. Let's start from there. Let's not try to do too many things at the same time. Let's just concentrate on that. And agriculture can give birth to many other, industries, and then we can take it from there.
All right. As the mouthpiece of the Association of Edo Professionals, what's your thoughts about what some people are calling vote buying? They are even saying that there's some rampant vote buying happening in the state, whereby pieces of materials are being shared, monies are being distributed for PVCs and the rest of them, and also the particular federal government scheme that actually kicked in, that 2,000 women actually benefited from, and the PDP are calling a blatant vote buying. Do you think that is vote buying, and what's your thoughts about vote buying ahead of the elections?
I almost feel like asking you back. Have you seen them go to any other state to distribute that same, whatever it was, temporary employment to 2,000 people in any other states? No. They've just done this only in Edo State. That's, for me, is vote buying. It's a party in power trying to take advantage and, and create some coloration. For us as an association, we think it's a form of vote buying. But having said that, we've been on the ground for a while now, we've seen vote buying across party lines. Rappers have been shared. People are sharing money. We have videos, evidences of this. They're sharing money, they're buying. For the money, this is what we have said to our people on the ground. Very gladly, we have seen that our people are resolute. They want to be able to allow their PVC speak for them. If people bring money to you, we assume that this is money they've stolen at one time or the other from this country, from our own federation accounts or state accounts, whichever one. So, the land. If people are stupid enough to start sharing money around, my impression, this is my own personal impression, is collect the money. It's part of government money that they stole, but vote your conscience. Yeah, just go out there and vote your conscience. It's such a stupid thing. This is not we supporting sharing money. That they are doing it is despicable and all of that. But let the ordinary people also not be foolish. Let's collect this. Yeah,
Reverend,
and then let's go vote against them.
Reverend, it said that both the bribe giver and the bribe seeker are offenders. So I would have thought that you would say, don't collect the money, just leave the money.
No, you are
go vote your conscience.
For you,
all right. We're going to keep you on pause. We're going to get back to you and discuss more post-election, because this is always a problem with post-election. We'll get back to you and discuss some more. Meanwhile, voting materials for Saturday's governorship election in Edo State have arrived in Benin, the state capital. The materials were received at the Central Bank by the resident electoral commissioner, Johnson Alalibo, under tight security. Among the materials are the ballot papers and result sheets, including broadsheets and other materials for the physically challenged. Quite interesting. Only party agents as well as local and foreign observers were allowed to inspect the sensitive materials. The materials are expected to be distributed to the 18 local government areas today. Our next head of voter education and publicity in Edo State, Timidi Warrior said the commission is now fully ready to conduct the polls.
We just went and inspected the materials in cartons, the sensitive materials, the ballot papers and the result sheets. And just now, the braille ballot box, that is the one for people living with disability, especially the visually impaired, their own ballot papers also came in just now. So we are set for the elections tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, as early as 7:30, all of you will be there, and then we start the distribution to the various local governments.
All right, Reverend Edebiri, I'm sure you're still there. Well, interesting, I said, the question of involving the physically challenged. I don't know that this has been done before, but that seems quite interesting. Add that to post-election. What happens post-election? Because it's supposed to be Edo State, so whoever wins, there should be a coming together to move Edo State forward. Take these two questions in your stride.
Okay, so for the physically challenged, I saw them at the Akenzwa Hall when INEC came to address all the political tendencies, and this a question was also addressed along that line. And they were assured that provisions have been made for them to be able to come into the voting areas and cast their votes. We would also be watching. Observers will also be taking records to make sure that this happens. We're actually appealing to everybody. Physically challenged, those who are able-bodied, everybody should come out. We need the numbers. We need everybody, almost all the 2 million registered voters, to really come out and cast their votes in this election. So we will be watching to see whether or not INEC will keep their promise as it relates to the physically challenged. And I believe they will. I really believe they will. Also, we've discussed this at length. Our expectation is, and we are speaking to all the political tendencies, not just the two leading political parties. We're speaking to everybody involved. Our expectation is when the results begin to come out and they declare the winner, we expect the losers to embrace the winner. This is one key election that we're hoping that we can send some very clear message of how things are done in civilized climes to the rest of the country. I expect the one that loses. I know this election has been very intense. You know, the passion has been intense. But I expect whoever is the runners-up especially to pick up his phone, call his brother, and say, congratulations, and I'm ready to work with you. I expect the winner not to bloat, not to, see it as an opportunity to say, we told you, but also to accept a phone call and immediately call for everybody to join us together to work with it. So I'm not saying people shouldn't jubilate that they have won an election, but we shouldn't do it in such a way as to make the other people feel like, oh, and then you cause a big fight. I also expect that in this election, and this is our expectation in the Association of Edo Professionals, let's show that we are Edolites. We have, maybe a very large concentration of educated people in these parts of the country. Let's let the loser say, okay, this has been done, self-defeat, and not go to the tribunal. There's nothing that says that in every election we must go to tribunal. This is the only country everybody goes to court, from the tribunal to appeal court to Supreme Court, and some will even call the Supreme Court to come back again and review their own judgment. Yeah? I don't know what is wrong with us. Why we cannot even lose gracefully and just wait for the next time, So we are hoping, and we have been talking to all the parties. This election, let's show a new standard of behavior in this country. When you lose, in fact, we'll be on our phones, also calling the runners-up and say, please, call your brother now, call him now, And then we are calling the other side to say, please embrace your brother. When this happens, and don't go to courts. Don't go to courts. Let there be peace in this state. Our royal father has made her happy. We are making them happy. Other people are making them happy. Let there be peace. Let other people, begin to look up to Edo State as a guide. And that's our expectation from this election.
Many thanks to you, Reverend. And that is honestly the hope. Election petitions are certainly becoming draining for the Nigerian people. Really enjoyed you coming on to share your views with us today.